So this mission takes place just before basically about the halfway point in the game. Sean is working with the British SOE. He's being Irish, he's not very excited about working with the Brits, but he'll do it because if he helps them, they'll point him towards this guy Dierker that killed his best friend. So that's really Sean's motivation, is vengeance. So he reluctantly works with them, but he'll do it. This is Skylar. She's an old friend of Sean's, actually, from back in the racing days, and it kind of helps pull him into the SOE. So she's going to help him out here. And when we started work, we had a lot of fantasies when we started working on this game, but one of the fantasies that I was really big on is when we started looking at Paris, there's all these really awesome cemeteries, and really wanted to have a firefight in the cemetery and have a big kind of mission in the cemetery. So when I went to actually go to Paris and actually on a research trip, I wandered around this cemetery for about 3 hours, like having fantasies like a 5-year-old boy having shootouts inside of the cemetery. So the premise of this mission is kind of a little bit of an homage to like an Indiana Jones kind of flavor in the game. We're kind of a fantasy of the war. We're not really historically accurate. We take a lot of liberties. So the point of this mission is the Nazis have unearthed an artifact inside of this cemetery, and the SOE wants it, take it away from the cemetery. So they're going to use Sean to go in and get it. Skylar's going to go pick up a truck and meet us up kind of where it's at, and then we're going to take that artifact out of there. So part of the fantasy of being a saboteur is not running in and shooting everybody like a mercenary. It's about sneaking in and breaking necks and taking uniforms and disguises. So we facilitate in the game, and so we designed it around what we call quiet in, loud out. The idea is to go in quietly, break a neck, get into the heart of the base, plant the bomb, it goes off, the alarms get raised, bullets go flying, and you kind of fight your way out of there. But you don't have to play that way. You can play it really however you want. You can go and shoot everybody in the face if that's what you feel like your best option is, or that's just the way you want to play. So we'll play this a little bit sneaky. There's a lot of ways through this cemetery. I'll take you through some of my favorite ways through this area. So there's some little hidden undergrounds. Again, just kind of playing up the fantasy of these areas and the crypts and the catacombs of feeling. Sneak up here. So like I was saying, you can take a disguise. We'll put that on. You still have to play by the rules. You can't just run around shooting everybody or climbing around the world. You still have to play the part of the Nazi. If I was in my civilian uniform inside of this restricted area, I'd be shot on sight. But when I'm in my civilian outfit and I'm just climbing buildings in Paris, what'll happen is if somebody sees me, our meter will start filling up, and when it fills up, they'll blow a whistle and raise the alarms and send in reinforcement. Disguise works almost exactly the same. If I'm standing still, I'm kind of acting inconspicuous, so I have a very small, what we call perception range. If I start running around, I'm bringing a little bit more attention to myself. If I start climbing, it gets really big and I bring a lot more attention to myself. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of take guys out. There's a whole melee system, definitely some different types of stealth kills. I really like to beat those guys over the head with the gun. So see, if I start sprinting, I'm bringing more attention to myself. So if I start sprinting into this area, somebody sees me, it'll start filling up my meter. I can walk past a little bit slowly, but you still have to be careful to kind of play the part. Those guys are going to get me. So they saw me. I'm basically going to blow my disguise. They blow the whistle. That sets off and starts alerting people. But at this point, we put a lot of effort into our gun system. So we have a cover system like every third-person shooter in the entire world does now. Our cover system's all dynamic. I don't have to hit a button. I just move up. Sean takes the cover. For us, it was about making him always look like that cool action hero that we want to be in our hearts. And it's very fluid. We made a lot of effort to make sure it's not overly sticky like a lot of the cover-based games, because our character can run, jump, and climb like he's climbing over there. We needed it to be fluid so you weren't getting stuck when you wanted to do some sort of like bigger action. So let me get through here. So we're going to get out into the cemetery here, and he'll just move around and use the different pieces as cover. Shoot that guy in the back. Flamethrower guys blow up if you shoot him in the back. So we're moving into basically the heart of the base, and so there's definitely a lot more soldiers in this area. So you really got to be careful to use the cover. I have it in easier mode because I can't really talk and play the game on normal difficulty. But you'll see we have a full screen health effect instead of like a health bar, and it recovers over time like a regenerating health system. We did that because our character's really inspired by a lot of movie heroes like Indiana Jones and a bit of that die-hard Bruce Willis's character. So we wanted him to be able to get beat up and then get back into the fight of the game. Oh, where'd you come from? So again, now we're going to move back down into the crypts. Hide out inside of here. So again, it was really wanting to have that Indiana Jones kind of fantasy really inside of our game. That was a really big influence on our game, having this guy with very personal motivations rather than political motivations, but having the Nazis as our bad guys and then kind of using the war more as a backdrop. So I've completed the big objective in the mission. Sometimes it's at the end of the mission, sometimes it's in the middle of the mission. And so the will to fight comes back out in the world. It's nighttime in this area right now. So it's a little bit, it's not as like, sometimes it's when it's colorful and it's daytime, it's real easy to see. By this point in the game, the player's seen it probably at the daytime more than anything. And we wanted that kind of, you know, it sells the idea of the cemetery also having it at nighttime.